We have a front door that needs some major repair work. Today we're in a home that's at least 30 years old. And you can see with this door frame, see how the weather stripping is just coming right off? Not to mention there's a lot of cracks in the door frame, especially right here by the deadbolt area. See this big one? That means the deadbolt can't even lock securely anymore. Also, our threshold is really loose. Look at this. This needs to be replaced as well. But rather than address all of these problems individually, today I'll show you how we can rip out this door frame and clean out the area and install a pre-hung door, which means the door frame and the door all in one unit. So let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is take up this threshold. And this is as simple as taking up these 4 screws. Okay, now this should just lift right up like that. Whoa, that is really dirty underneath there. The only thing that I want to save from this door is the doorbell. Let me just unscrew this. We're going to be able to use this in our new door frame. The next thing that we want to do is take out the hinge pin so we can get this door off. And you can use a screwdriver and a hammer to loosen this pin and then work it up. Once it starts coming up, if you'll try to get underneath it as straight as you can, it should come out pretty easy. These doors are really heavy, so you can do this project by yourself, but if you can get some help, that's a good idea. My friend Roger Thayer, he's our technical advisor on the show. He's going to be helping me today. Yeah, there's a lot of paint on here, so sometimes that makes it a little harder. Okay.
Got it?
Got it? Yeah. Okay, good. Now we can start on this door frame, but let's get rid of this. This trim is coming off fairly easy. I'm just using a Prybar and a hammer. And we don't have to worry about tearing the trim up, but you just want to be a little careful not to damage your wall. Just a couple of whacks. Okay, I've got it pretty loose, so now I can just really use the Prybar to work it loose all the way up. And I'm just going to do this all the way around until I get all of the trim off. What I'm doing now is removing the door frame. This door frame is nailed into a 2x4 right here, and the 2x4 is attached to the house. So I'm using a reciprocating saw with a bimetal blade, and the bimetal blade simply means it'll cut through most anything. There's a lot of nails and wood in between here. So I'm going to saw all the way around my door frame to separate it from the 2x4 that's attached to the house. And it's a really good idea to wear eye protection anytime you're using a power tool. Now let's see if I can get this trim off of here. Well, you know, it's not coming off quite as easily as I thought. Oh, you know why? That's because this brick molding has been caulked to the house. So I'm going to need to loosen that and get that off too. Yep, that was the problem. Okay. Well, after some work, I finally got all the brick molding off, and here are the doorbell wires that we were trying to salvage. So now, just gonna give the door frame a little kick, and if you'll pull it together and bring it out from the bottom, you can get it out a lot easier. This thing's going in the trash. When you buy this unit at the store, the door's already going to be attached to the frame, but we took it off to make the installation that much easier. Okay, Roger, let's get it pretty good.
My side looks pretty good.
Okay, yeah, mine does too. Once you get the door frame roughly in place, you need to make sure that it's flush up against this inside wall. And you can use your hand, or you can even use a square. And what you'll want to do is place it on that wall and then bring the door frame right up to it. Would you please hand me the drill? Thank you. Okay, I've got a 3-inch screw on this drill, and I'm going to drill this right into this area where the hinge is going to go. And this is going to anchor the door frame right into place. All right, we've got this side of the door frame anchored. I've got a screw right here at the bottom, one in the middle, and I've also got one right here at the top. And these are all three going to be covered by the hinge. So now we need to come over here and attach this side. But because this part of the wood is going to be exposed, I've changed the drill bits, and I'm going to drill a pilot hole, and that way we don't take any risk of splitting the wood. I'm using a pair of shims, and these are just small pieces of wood that are skinny on one end and fat on the other. And you'll want to take the skinny ends and place one on each side towards each other. And you're just going to bring them together and snug them up. And what this is doing is it's making a nice tight fit between the door frame and the wall. So I want to put a pair of these shims behind all 3 pilot holes, and then we're ready to go. So let me check the top. Okay, that looks good. Let me check this side. Yeah, that looks good as well. Okay. Great, now I can go ahead and attach this side of the door frame. So I can put this right in that pilot hole. Now that I've got my door frame attached, I can go ahead and cut these shims off to get them out of the way before I bring the door in. And this is really easy. You can use a utility knife, and you just want to score the shims a few times, just like this. Okay, and then you can take your hammer and see it just breaks right off. Now here's our big moment of truth. Let's go ahead and attach this door and make sure it's going to fit in the frame. And I'm using the screws that we took out of the hinges earlier when we took the door off. Roger, you ready to lift up that door?
Sure.
Okay. Right about...
How's that?
Yeah, right there's good.
Okay.
Put that in there. Okay, Roger, I'm going to do one at the bottom next.
Okay.
Okay, how about right... yeah.
How's that look?
That's good. Okay, I've got one there. Let me go to the middle too. Put one in there and then you won't have to hold it anymore. Roger, I've got all these screws in place. Why don't we step outside and make sure this is going to fit?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, that's great. That's going to work perfect once we get the doorknob and the lock in place. The pre-hung door sets all come with the trim for the outside and the inside pre-cut, so that makes your installation a lot easier too. And I went ahead and pre-drilled the pilot holes because again, that'll keep the nail from splitting the wood. And I didn't forget about the doorbell wires, here they are. So as soon as I get all this trim on, I'm on the home stretch. One of our final steps is to make sure that we have a good tight seal between the door frame and the house. So be sure that you put on a really good application of caulk all the way around your door frame. Now when it comes to the hardware, you have an infinite variety to choose from. And what we have now is a door that ought to last us another 30 years.